Are we live? Are we live? Yeah, we are live actually. Oh my god, that's good. So, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the Lindsay Clancy situation. I know it's weird, but let's see what we have today. First off, let's see what she looks like. Let's see what she looks like. So basically, this is who she is. This is what she looks like. Let's find a closer, like a close-up picture. What she looks like close up. She looks like close up. So yeah, so we know what she looks like right now. And let's dive right into the video. Let's see the overview of what happened actually. Let's see the overview of what happened actually. So let's check it out. So you can see right here, she says the case. On January 24th, 2023, a 36-year-old Lindsay Clancy strangled her three children, Tara, Dawson, and Cullen, 8 months using exercise bands in their home. The suicide attempt. After the killing, she jumped from a second floor window. The fall left her paralyzed from the waist down. Charges. She faces 3 counts of first-degree murder. She does not dispute she killed the children, but she has pleaded not guilty for the insanity. So we're going to talk about it later, but a lot of guys are saying that it was her husband that killed the kids. But right here, it says she does not dispute that she killed the children. So we're going to talk about that in a further video, but let's go on. So what is our defense? What is our defense? Our defense says her lawyers argue that she suffered from a postpartum psychosis. This is a very rare and dangerous mental illness after birth that causes a mother to lose touch with reality. I'm sure you're wondering what is a postpartum psychosis, right? Let's check it out right here. I set it up earlier. It's a type of auditory hallucination where a person hears a voice that instructs or orders them to take a specific action. So, yeah, so she was basically hearing voices in her head telling her what to do and what to say. I'm going to give my feedback on that once we are done with the overview. So, she's seeking help. The defense presented evidence that she took many medications and repeatedly asked doctors, hospitals, and hotlines for mental health. The prosecution's arguments, intent and control. Prosecutors argue that she planned the killings. They point out she sent her husband out of the house to pick up food and medicine before the attack. People are saying her husband was part of the killing, but he wasn't home. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Criminal responsibility. Experts, witnesses for the state testified that her actions showed clear organization and control. They stated she understood her actions and she should be held criminally responsible. So yeah. So my take on this personally is, I'm going to watch what's the word now? Let's check it out. I'm gonna watch yeah, let's have the video, but before we get there, let's just go back to this, right? So my take on this is, I haven't experienced pregnancy because I'm a man, right? So women that go through pregnancy and experience postpartum, depression or psychosis, my heart goes out to them because I don't know how they feel. But I mean, if you're experiencing such things, I'm gonna be sympathetic with you. You feel me, right? But then I feel like there is I don't know, but I feel like this might be like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Like, well, not as common as you think, though, right? Like someone who kills their children because they're experiencing such things, right? But then me personally, I find what she did wrong. I think we all find what she did wrong, right? I can't even explain because it's weird though, right? She's suffering from something that made her do what she did, right? That's my line of thought, right? That's my line of thought. So are we gonna blame her? Yeah, we're gonna blame her for what she did, right? But is the fault fully on her because she was suffering from, what she was suffering from? That's my line of thought, right? And then a lot of because I feel like personally, because I don't know about you, but we've seen huge protests. People, let me just show you. People doing this, you know, people showing solidarity, people out there, a lot of women actually, women out there saying all these things and doing all these things, right? And we've heard the stories too of men canceling their marriages because their spouses or their soon to be wife agrees with the Lindsay Clancy situation. So my take is I'm pathetic to her situation, but she deserves to be punished for what she did. I won't say punished, but there have to be some sort of, repercussions for what she did, you know? And let's see what Zabi has for us today though. And I'm trying to make up a new format of doing my videos, make it more give my own way because I feel like just reacting is not it's not enough. So I have to give my own, input and everything though. But that's by the way though. Yo, subscribe to the channel and let's see what Zabi has for us today, man. Let's
Lindsay
go.
Clancy has a problem. She's currently on trial for premeditatively in her 3 kids. Now, the word premeditatively is the key word here. It basically means she thought about it, she planned it, she did it. The defense said that's a damn lie. She did it. She just didn't plan to do it. She was going through psychosis at the time. See, this case is a little more complicated than it may seem, but first, we gotta understand what happened. You see, one day, Patrick, who was Lindsay's husband at the time, was working from home. After he finished working, he said,
I ain't gonna lie to you, mind you, right? This picture, a family picture. Everyone looks so normal, everyone looks so happy and everything. So, and then that happened. So, yo, it can happen to anyone, bro. Because when I see this family walking on the road, yeah, that's a good family, you feel me? That's a happy family and everything, right? Yes, she was suffering from things. So, mind you, you all have to check up on your people around you. They might look good, they might feel good, they might look like they're doing well, but you have to check up on them because you don't know what anyone is dealing with, you feel me, right? So,
look,
that's how I say
Lindsay,
that.
we don't got time to cook, so you
Just
want
had
me to
to
go
take
pick
that.
something up?
Yeah.
Lindsay said, yes, absolutely. So as Patrick's leaving, Lindsay texts him at 5:15 p.m. Remember that time. One of our 3 kids needs medicine from the CVS. Can you pick it up on your way to get food? He said, bet. So Patrick goes to the CVS, picks up the medicine for the kids, calls Lindsay, says, hey, is this the right thing? She says, yeah. He goes to the restaurant, picks up the food, drives home. When he gets to his house, this is the motto of his house, by the way, everything was quiet. He said that's a little weird, so he starts calling out to everybody, his kids and Lindsay. Nobody answers. Eventually, he finds Lindsay outside on the floor. He asked her what happened. She said she tried to herself. He said, okay, where are the kids? She said they're in the basement. So Patrick goes to the basement and finds the 3 kids, calls the police. Police pull up. Everyone is in agreement of what happened. Patrick said, that happened. Lindsay said, that did happen. Prosecutor said, that happened. Police said that happened. Lindsay's defense said, yeah, everything Patrick said happened. People are even in agreement about what happened before that took place. Lindsay said, I was very, very depressed. I was experiencing psychosis. I was seeking help from mental health professionals, from everyone around her. Patrick said, she was. She absolutely was. Her defense says, yes, she was. The mental health professionals come out and say, yeah. She called me. We prescribed her this. She was absolutely seeking help. Everyone's in agreement with that. But the twist is the defense is saying, well, you see that she was seeking all of this help. That's why she was experiencing a lot of mental health issues. And the prosecution is saying, no. That's just an excuse. The kids because she wanted to. Now that you know what happened, here's where things start to get wicked. I'm going to give you facts. We about to get to the nitty gritty of it. First fact. Lindsay, when she tried it herself, it involved her jumping from a high place.
Yeah.
She's paralyzed from the waist down because of it. The defense said, you see that she tried it herself for real. She really has mental health issues. Prosecution said, I don't know. She was getting help. Like, what y'all mean? This right here is one of the people that was helping her. The defense said, well, I'm glad you brought this person up because the help she was getting is actually the problem. The defense goes to this psychiatrist lady. I forgot her name. The defense said, okay, all the stuff you was giving her, like, was it working? She said, I mean, we was working on it. It wasn't quite. So he said, you didn't do your job for real. That was basically the psychiatrist's argument with the defense. And it was really intense. He was damn near cussing her out, talking about, I found a mistake on your paperwork. What's going on with that? She said, you trying to make it seem like I'm stupid. It was just like a typo. He said, a typo? Ooh, a typo. She said, ooh, you rage baiting me. The judge had to come in. He said, hey, y'all gotta chill. Not in my courtroom. The defense said, oh, so you making typos? You prescribing her whatever, this and that? We just giving her whatever we want. Matter of fact, give me another psychiatrist. Next psychiatrist, pull up. Defense said, so what was you prescribing her? This, that, and the third? And he said, defense. Next psychiatrist, he start calling psychiatrists out. Turns out she had like 13 prescriptions.
God
Another
damn.
psychiatrist pull up and said, yeah, she did pull up and say she wanted to herself. She said it was getting real bad. The defense said, okay, so what did y'all do? Psychiatrist said, well, we didn't do anything. The defense said, excuse me? Yeah, they said, yeah, the rules state that you got to have a plan about yourself before we can actually commit you to something. But, you know,
Wow.
I sent her some resources, and the
Wow.
defense said, where are the resources you sent her? I said,
Word to
you know
my
what? I
mama.
actually didn't send her resources. So you can probably see where Lindsay's defense is coming from. They're saying, look, the
Yeah.
mental health
Yeah.
system failed her. In fact,
Yeah.
Lindsay and her
Yeah.
defense have a separate civil case where they're suing many people in the mental health system. The prosecution is saying, nah, that still wouldn't have drove her to her kids. That part she did on purpose. She might have had mental health issues, but not bad enough to, she did that on purpose. You could see by the text she's sending people, like she seemed that she was sound of mind. Like she did it on purpose. And that's pretty much the case that's going on. Now you'll notice that nowhere in this video that I mentioned the husband Patrick being the culprit, because that
Yeah.
is absolutely
Yeah.
not the focus of this
Of
case
the
by
video.
the defense
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the prosecution. But let's talk about
Yeah.
why people believe that he might be. See, if you'll remember earlier, I told you Patrick was working.
Yeah.
He leaves the house to go get medicine for the kid at CVS, and he goes to get
Yeah.
takeout, right? Well,
Yeah.
he left the house. Remember this number. Hey,
Okay.
coincidence. It's actually 5:15 right now. He left the
5:15,
house
yeah.
at 5:15. The CVS is about 3 minutes away from their house. The cameras catch Patrick walking into the CVS at 5:32. He leaves the house 5:15. It's 3 minutes away. He gets there at 5:32. The mathematics ain't adding up.
Yeah, what
People
was he
online
doing?
are saying, oh, that's
What was he
weird.
doing?
But in the
What was he
actual
doing?
trial, they didn't really
Yeah.
seem to care. Because remember, that's not the defense's argument. That's not the prosecution's argument. But they did ask him about it. The prosecutor told him, look, why did it take you so long to get from your house to the CVS? He said, I don't know. The defense pulled up. They said, no, we got this prosecution. Look, Patrick, we're not saying you did it, but we really need to get to the bottom of this because we got something else over here. It says that you sent an email to your job at 5:24. You leave your house at 5:15. An email gets sent at 5:24. Does that mean you were still at the crib? Like, what's going on for real? Patrick said, bro, I don't know. I might have sent the email from my iPhone, but I know I didn't leave the house that late. I might have sent it from I don't know. I don't remember. That's a little weird. But regardless, the defense did not follow up
Yeah.
on this. Now, people also
Yeah.
noticed the
Yeah.
husband, Patrick, seemed to have changed his clothes. He seemed to have changed his jacket from a short button down to like a longer button down because he's also caught in surveillance in the restaurant. In the restaurant,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
shoes seem different and his jacket seems like
Seems
it has
different.
a zipper that pulls down
Yeah.
lower. Here's a closer
Yeah.
look at his shoes when he was in the restaurant versus the CVS. His shoes seem different, and again, they're saying the jacket seems different. Defense did not follow up on this. They're
Okay.
maintaining this had nothing to do with their case. They're pleading that Lindsay absolutely did it, but she was going through psychosis. People
Yeah.
also claim that this might be one of Patrick's friends walking to the CVS, and this
No,
might be
yeah.
Patrick
Patrick.
going into the restaurant after he finished in the kids. And now that I look at this picture a little closer, do these two people seem to have different hairstyles to
Yeah,
you?
they do,
Okay,
they
but
do.
regardless, that's
They
neither
do.
here nor there.
They
The
do.
defense is saying, we don't care about the hair, we don't care about the clothes, we don't care about this, that, and the third. The defense and the prosecution maintain we are both in agreement about what happened. Lindsay and the three
Yeah, with
kids,
the kids,
we're just
yeah.
not in agreement on why it happened.
why
But
it
regardless
happened,
of who
yeah.
you think did it, the question of the trial is,
Yeah.
can she be held responsible for
Yeah.
killing her kids, even though
Yeah.
she's crying out for help, constantly explaining to
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
her mental health was really,
Yeah.
really, really deteriorating?
Yeah.
And that's a question the jury has to ask, and that's a question I want to ask you. What do you
Yeah.
think? Let me know. And truly, rest in peace to those three kids, because I feel
Yeah.
like they're forgotten in all of this. But
So yeah, I mean, my take on that, I already talked about that earlier, right? That she was facing a lot of things, also what she was facing. I feel like she has to be held for what she did, but I still have sympathy for her. And I feel like this makes I won't say anyone that supports her a bad person, but I don't know. I don't know because all this is very, very new and very weird to me because I just started streaming and doing everything, and I've really been off for the past few days. Well, I think for about 2 weeks now because I haven't just been feeling motivated. But I feel like this was a situation I really, really, really had to talk about, and that's why I'm live right now, bro. I'm live right now, bro. Live right now. Live right now. Live right now. Live right now. So what's up to the channel? Let's get this shit started. Let's get this shit started, bro. And by the way, we're going to talk about the next video right here because this will actually a beat later. But I wanted to have like a preview of what actually happened. So we're going to talk about
Let's
this one
talk
right
about
now.
Lindsay Clancy.
So let's do the YouTube intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about why people think Lindsay Clancy's husband did it. So in our last video, we talked about, the overview of what happened, the why she killed her children, what she was suffering from. She was suffering from postpartum depression. That means that after you're giving birth to your kids, you're suffering from depression, postpartum depression, right? You feel me? So she was suffering from that. She strangled her kids with I think they said exercise bands and everything, right? But I think one of her kids are alive. I think the other two are dead, but that's by the way. And in my last video, we talked about everyone was on point. Everyone everyone was, on the same wavelength, right? We all thought that she was the one that killed the kids because, she said so, her husband said so, the police said so, the judge said so. So I feel like we all thought that she was the one that killed the kids. But in this video, we are seeing evidence that points towards people saying that it was actually her husband that killed the kids. But I mean, is what it is. Subscribe to the channel. Let's see what's up. And let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's talk about Lindsay Clancy. For those of you that don't know, very brief summary. Lindsay Clancy is accused of, well, not even accused of. Lindsay Clancy is on trial for her 3 kids.
Yeah.
And the trial isn't whether she them or not. Her defense is saying she did them, but she was going through postpartum psychosis because she didn't get sufficient help from
her
the mental health system, even though she was crying out for help. The prosecution is saying, we agree, defense, we're all in agreement that she the 3 kids, but we think she did it on purpose. We think the mental health system has nothing to do with it. We think she just wanted the 3 kids. Okay. So that is what the trial is about.
Yeah.
And what happened in the situation, again, briefly, is her husband at the time, Patrick, went to go get food and medicine from CVS. And he comes back, and Lindsay is outside on the floor. And she said she tried it herself, so she was paralyzed from the waist down. For how she tried to do it, she jumped from like a high place, and then she told him the 3 kids are in the basement. He went to the basement, he found the 3 kids, called the police. Okay. And then again, they go to trial. Okay. And they're in the middle of trial right now. And many people are split between this case for multiple reasons. The main question is, can you blame Lindsay Clancy for what happened? Can you say it was all her fault? It was all her fault. Should, full on go to jail for the 3 kids. Even though she was, basically screaming out, "I'm a danger." Like there's I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I feel like myself, and the system isn't. They're just giving her pills, and just like we don't quite know what to do. She was on 13 different prescriptions at one point. So, side note: Lindsay Clancy and her team are also have a civil suit against the main people in the mental health system for the way they went about treating her. Now, the question is whether you believe it is her fault. And also there's other questions as to whether, people are saying whether Lindsay did it at all, because Patrick, her husband at the time, came out with his rendition of what happened. And people noticed some inconsistencies
with the times
in the story or his story. Not so much inconsistencies, but questions popped up in his story. Because I need you to listen to these times very closely. Okay. Because that's going to be a big part of this video here. So when I told you he went to go get medicine and for the kid. He was
Okay.
already leaving to go. He was just going to get food at first. He was on his way to get food. As he's leaving, Lindsay says, "Oh, also get medicine." Okay. So
Okay.
he gets that text and he says, "Oh, that's when I left. When I got that text, it was 5:15."
Yeah.
The CVS, which he went to first, is 3 minutes away from his house. So he should have got there maybe around 5:20, let's say.
Yeah.
But
He got
the
there.
CVS cameras have him walking in at
5:32.
5:32.
Yeah.
So that's a very long amount of time.
Yeah.
And they mentioned this in the trial too, not just the defense, but the prosecutor. They were like, "Oh, by the way, I mean, we're just curious. Why did it take you so long? Like, what happened?"
What's up
And
with
he's
you?
saying, "I don't remember.
I don't
I
remember.
don't know."
Yeah.
And I think his mindset here, because in the scheme of the case, for those of you that don't know, this is a trial of Lindsay. So in a trial, there's one focus. Okay, there's charges. Whatever the charge is, even if Patrick said, he got up and said, "By the way, I did it, everybody, just to let you know I did it," that wouldn't mean, okay, book him, Patrick goes to jail now. No, there would have to be another trial.
Another trial.
Saying,
Oh, okay.
did Patrick do this or not?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the whole trial is a focus on whether Lindsay did it by her own volition or whether the medical system is to blame. So
Yeah.
he is basically, I don't know, because he's not on trial there, for one, and the defense isn't coming, Lindsay's defense isn't coming at him like, "Did you do it? Did you not do it?" Because that's not the focus of the case at all.
Yeah.
And these events were how long ago?
This is 3 years ago. So yeah, so thank you for saying that as well. So this was 3 years ago too. So it can be in line with he doesn't remember or
Yeah, it was 2023. I
doesn't
remember.
but he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
But the memory is weird. I've seen some people in the comments saying, "How can he?" Because he remembers some details where he says,
I ain't gonna lie to you too, though, right? Because the thing is that we're just hearing about this right now, and when I did my first video, we saw that this was done 2023, so that's about 3 years from now. That's crazy that we're just hearing about it right now. That's crazy.
"My kid was eating out of a bowl, not a plate." So he remembers some details, but he doesn't remember. They're like, "Why don't you remember what you were doing on your drive over?" Like,
Yeah.
you could easily say you were sitting in your car for 5 minutes. You were walking. You walked into CVS slowly. Now, that being said, but I do want to say the argument for that, because I've seen people say that online. But the memory is weird. The memory is fickle. Who knows? It could have been. He could be lying, or he could genuinely not remember, or I think one of the biggest things is he doesn't care to remember, in a sense.
Yeah.
Maybe he's thinking this isn't a big part of the case. Who cares? Because as they're pressing him a little bit more, he then starts to be a little more open about it. So I'm sure you just seen clips of him saying, "I don't remember. But that isn't quite how it went. So the prosecutor said, "Hey, so like, what took you so long?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't remember." It was more like I don't remember. No, it was more like I don't remember. Like, I don't, he doesn't think it's a big deal. You can kind of see, he's like, I don't
Yeah.
And the defense press him a little bit more. The defense comes in instead of the prosecution. They're like, yeah, so at the same time, you left at 5:15.
You got there.
You get to the CVS at 5:32. But at one point, you sent an email to work from like your Surface Pro laptop at 5:24. They're like, "Were you still at home?"
That was
and the
at
defense's
home.
job is to like sprinkle in doubt
Yeah.
questions. They're not saying
You
he
did
did it,
it.
but he did it. But
Yeah.
it would be nice for the defense if people thought that he did it, because that means they have to let Lindsay go. So they're just like sprinkling in doubt, but they're not saying this is our hardline argument.
Yeah.
And he's saying again, he's like,
I don't really know.
"I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know." And then I think he starts to see, oh, okay, so I thought this
suspecting me.
was unserious. This is my speculation. And so maybe it's a little more serious, because the prosecution comes back and they're like, "Did you maybe send that message from," he's like, "Yeah, maybe I sent it from my iPhone. Maybe I didn't send it like for work. Maybe I was on the way and I sent it from my iPhone. I don't quite remember." And he was like, he even says like, "I could have maybe left the house like later than 5:15. Like he's saying like, I'm not thinking the exact time, but he's alluding to like, I saw her message at 5:15, so that's when I assumed I left. That's what I told police, and maybe I left at 5:18. He's saying like maybe I left at 5:17. He's like,
He's not really
maybe I left a
sure.
little after, but then he's adamant. He's like, but I didn't leave like after. He's like, if we're being serious here, and you guys are like trying to make me remember for real, then I didn't leave. I know I didn't leave like at 5:24. I know I didn't leave that late. He's saying. So he's like, so maybe I sent the message from my iPhone. So and they just dropped it there, and the prosecution and the defense, they didn't really go further. They're like, this doesn't really have to do with our case personally. It's neither here nor there. And a separate note, after he leaves the CVS and he goes to the restaurant, people, it seems that his clothes are different. It seems that his shirt, his jacket buttons down a lot lower when he's in the restaurant. It seems that he has like a longer, like a zipped jacket. And it seems that his shoes are tennis shoes. And when he walks into the CVS, his shoes are boots. It just seems like his clothing is.
Mind you, before it gets to that, right? I feel like there are two different people that we're talking about. Well, I think he thinks they're the same person, but from the hairstyles I saw from the comparing pictures, I feel like the hairstyles are different, right? So I feel like there are two different people that we are talking about in this instance. So that's, I think he was with his friend. So I think it was his friend that we captured in the other video, in the other picture rather.
Different. So people were also weirded out by that fact as well.
Yeah.
Now, the defense didn't follow up on this either. They were like, okay, this has nothing to do with our case. We're not saying that he did it. So whether he changed his shoes, whether he didn't change his shoes, they're like, we're not even looking at that. They're like, maybe he changed his shoes on the way. I don't know. They're like, regardless, we're pretty sure we know the events that happened has nothing to do with our case. But that being said, people online are alluding to that he might have actually been the person. And in fact, they're not even alluding to this. People online are saying no. You know, these are reasons that he might have done it. Yeah. Now it seems like, because what you're seeing is times, and what you're seeing is a clothes change, and you might be wondering how does that
what's going on? Yeah,
what's going on? He did it. So it seems like people's arguments are he left his house later than people think because he was the kids, and he sent a friend of his to CVS, but he couldn't coordinate times quite right with his friend. So his friend goes at like 5:32, and then he gets to the restaurant while his friend, and as his friend leaves, he gets to the restaurant, and he's like timing things with like a friend or something. Yeah. People are saying that must be it, because, the reason why they're talking about friend this, friend that, and times, because as the police have, in their opinion, and in what is logic, is he couldn't have his kids and then drove to CVS then drove to the restaurant
the
and
food
then
place.
It just doesn't make sense time-wise. I'm going to get into a little graphic detail here, but as they mentioned in the case, a doctor themselves said, well, to somebody in the manner that the kids were, it would maybe take about 6 to 8 minutes each person. So then, you say, okay, then you got to bring the kids to a place, and then you got to do 6 to 8 minutes. And by the way,
long time.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you all this. And, if this is too much for you, then do maybe skip this section. I'm going to put my hand up here when I start, and I'm going to put my hand up when I finish this section. So to someone of that matter, 6 to 8 minutes. So it, like you said, it's a long time.
Yeah.
So that tells you a few things. That tells you a mindset somebody has to be in to do that. 6 to 8 minutes. That's police.
3 times.
Yes, 3 times. So you're thinking like, okay, look, forget police for a second. Already in my head, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I feel like nobody in their right mind would be able to do something like that to that extent 3 times. So
Yeah.
that kind of goes to her argument. Nobody
So
in their
5-year-old, might say 5 years old, 3 years old, and an infant.
right. So that kind of goes to her argument, her statement.
Okay.
Right mind. Nobody in their
Okay.
right mind, especially
Okay.
if those are your kids. So that's violent, right? But you have to transfer them. You have to bring them here. You have to bring one here. So all this stuff will take you probably like in 45 minutes is the time that it took for Patrick to like leave the house and come back. 45 minutes is, they were saying, is still a short amount of time to really do all that. 6 to 8 minutes, right? Each person. So let's say 7 minutes one, 7 minutes another. That's 14, 21 minutes
21.
total.
Yeah.
To do and then you gotta yourself. Okay, you gotta jump. Okay, so maybe that's like 10 minutes. So that's already 31 minutes. But then we didn't factor in the fact that you didn't bring each kid here, each kid there. You say one kid stay there. It's like all of this seems like it takes a long amount of time. So 2 things come up from that. Let me put my hand up for the people to come back. 2 things come up from that. One, people are saying, no, she couldn't have done all this in that amount of time. Like, she didn't do it. And another thing saying that it must have been her because Patrick clearly didn't. When you see him at either CVS or the restaurant, from the time he leaves his house, when you see him at CVS, when you see him, they're like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Like there was no way, if he had even less time than her, because he had, let's say 45 minutes. If he had 30 minutes, right? Clearly we're seeing that it's not going to quite work.
Yeah, work.
But people are
Not
saying,
enough time.
he made it work in a sense. So, but let's say in police's mind, that seems to be one of the reasons why they just kind of checked it off. They're like, okay, he couldn't have done it, for one, in terms of time. For 2, they're saying she said she did it. Police are sitting there like, okay, she admitted it. She said she did it. All right, let's go on to the next page. But when it comes to those time inconsistencies, like let's say 5:15, he leaves his house at 5:15, and he gets to the CVS 5:32. I feel like if at least I'm a police officer, I'm not letting that go by unless I know 100% what happened.
What happened? Yeah, for sure.
Excuse me, that time. Hey, everybody, am I being gaslit here? Everybody in the office. I feel like
what's
there's a
going
lot
on?
of time. He can't just walk in and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he's not a suspect for real, but he can't walk in and say, I don't know.
One thing I'm gonna say is that when things happen, like when like bad things happen, you might tend to like forget what happens leading to the bad thing happening, right? You might forget some things, you might forget like how you got there and things like that. I feel like that might have happened, but the fact that you say you don't know, you're supposed to at least remember, like, you feel me? At least have an idea of what's up. Because even for me though, like I can never imagine being in that kind of situation, you feel me, right? But then I'm gonna at least remember like, yo, this happened. I mean, people take things different ways, right? So what applies for me might not apply for him too. You feel me? So I mean, it's what it is, but I feel like we should at least know or have an idea of like what actually happened during those times that he wasn't at home and doing everything. Mind you, that's a 3 minutes drive. So let's see.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me at least tell me that you were on TikTok before you left the house?
Doing
You were in your car on
something.
TikTok, and then you drove over, and then okay, let me hear those words, please.
Yeah.
Because this next part too is a little interesting.
Iffy.
And listen to these times I'm going to tell you. I clocked this while the prosecutors were speaking to Patrick, and they rode by this fact, and I was like, excuse me?
I'm with you.
So they're like, okay, so we're talking about times they're like, and you leave the CVS at like 5:34, and then you get to the restaurant. How long did it take to get to the restaurant? They checked the Google Maps. They're like 11, 12 minutes. They're like, okay, so you got to the restaurant at 5:41. So you got there in 7 minutes, and nodding, they're riding by. And I'm like, okay, that might sound like nothing, but to get to a place in 7 minutes when it's actually 11, 12 minutes away,
You going 100, 150.
you have to be flying.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
times don't
yeah,
add up like you may think they do. Like
yeah,
a
yeah,
place takes 11 to 12 minutes, and you got there in 7 minutes. You
That's
were
yeah,
crazy,
going
actually.
double the speed. I'm
yeah,
like,
for sure, for
I
sure,
feel
for
like that's
sure.
kind of a question I would ask. I'm not going to ride by that
Yeah,
one again. Sure,
yeah, I feel you.
fine. But then
All
the
right.
clothes, let's say, look different. I feel like, again, as a police officer, I'm going to say, I'm going to
What's
ask,
going
did
on?
you change your boots? And if you
Yeah,
say yes, I'm adding that to the time. You see what I'm saying? So if you drive from a place, it's supposed to take you 11, 12 minutes, but you got
to
there in
get there
seven
in
minutes.
seven
But then you
minutes.
had to change your boots as well.
Boots. Yeah,
On top of that, you had to walk to your car. On top of that, you had to walk from your car to the place.
yeah.
So you
You got there in like
sprinted full
five
speed to your
minutes,
car.
bro. For real.
As you're driving, you changed your shoes as fast as
Yeah,
possible, driving 100
yeah,
miles an hour.
yeah,
Skirt, you
yeah,
stop right in front and you run into the
yeah.
right. That's a lot.
A lot of
That is
time.
a lot. I'm not
Yeah.
saying what he did was impossible. He might have a reason, but I need to hear the
What
reason.
happened?
If
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh,
police officer,
yeah,
let's
for
say I
sure.
just can't have that on my. I can't.
Is that not your job as a detective
This
to
is what I'm
detect?
saying. Like,
Yeah.
sure, maybe somebody confess and we could focus on that. I don't know if that's like the extreme criteria of the job, but I feel like if I'm a detective, I'm like,
You do, but you do have to clear all possible
you got to
suspects.
clear all possibilities, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like, yeah, you got to clear all possibilities. So I got to sit there and say, I got to ask these questions. And in the trial, they're riding by it too, and they're just saying it's fine. But these are just questions I kind of want to know the answer to. I just do. And, and I could be of two minds. Let's say I could think that on one end, and then at the other end, I can't just deny what's in front of our face. Let's say,
Yeah. Yeah.
where they're saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
she said she did it. She said she did it. Absolutely did it. I can't deny what's in front of my face because that is entirely, and if not more possible than the
Yeah.
whole
And then
wild
the whole
scheme
wide,
of like him sending a friend here.
Yeah.
Sure, but let's just have all our ducks in
I
a
would
row.
love to have all. This is
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
case. I would love to have all my ducks in a row and
For
then
sure.
go with the more probable possibility that we can all say, okay, if everybody's saying she did it, she's saying she did it, and he's saying I did. He's giving a timeline. He don't seem like he's lying here. Then let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. Sure, but can we get the ducks in a row? Sure, whatever. That's neither here nor
Nor
there.
No, it's
there.
actually right there and right here if I really think about it, because those are things that we really have to know.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. But maybe there will be an internet sleuth that can go deeper, and then they'll.
Oh, TikTok has solved the case. They are out there. It's huge.
Then they may or may not be on it. But the three kids are gone.
Yeah,
My
they
bad.
are the true victims here.
Sure.
I ain't gonna lie to you. So I thought because I saw like a Facebook post, you feel me, right? They were like, yo, like we managed to like keep one of them kids living and shit, right? But then he's saying right here that the three kids are gone. So my bad, guys. Sorry for misinformation. My last video, so I'm probably gonna try and change that, but I mean, it's what it is. So sorry, guys. They are all gone. My condolences to the family. That's very sad.
Absolutely. Um, absolutely. Sad to say, but the world is beautiful, but life can also be hard and sad. I know it's tough to reconcile with some things, but sadly enough, the world doesn't always give us happy endings. We try to fix things as humans. It won't be fixed. It's gone. And
Yeah.
now it's time
Yeah.
to reconcile, and it's time to understand,
Yeah.
and it's time to
Yeah.
say, how do we make it better?
Yeah.
We live in a society of punishment. How do we punish this person? Sure.
Yeah.
But what they really, really should be doing right after this
Yeah.
is saying, how do we
How
make
do we help
sure
people?
something like this does not happen again?
I ain't gonna lie to you. So basically, I really fuck with Seven right here, bro. Let me check out his name. What is his name? What is his name? His name is Savvy. I don't know how you say that, but if you know how to say it, just tell me in the comments down below. So I fuck with him right here. You feel me? And even from the way he was talking about the video, you can see that he was visibly like he was distraught, right? I would say was distraught by having to retell or having to tell us the details about this event. And even me too, finding out about it, and trying to do my research about it. It's been a very, very, very gruesome experience, to try to retell you know the events that happened, and it is what it is. To you all out there, your family, your kids, and everyone out there, please check up on people. Please continue to ensure that your people are all right. I don't care whatever race you're from. Continue to check up on people around you. You feel me? Because check up on people, what's going to be a better place because you're going to know where they are at whatever point in time. You feel me? And if you see someone having a bad day, just check up on them, see what's up, see how you can help them. Those little things, really help someone, get through whatever they're going through. So I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I appreciate you all for, turning up to this video and everything. Y'all could subscribe to the channel and we'll see what's up. And I love you all. I'm gonna see y'all later. I gotta talk to my dad about, a few things, but I mean, it's what it is. And I love you all. Peace out. I'll probably stream for about 2 hours or 3 hours tonight. Uh, I don't know, but I mean, we're gonna figure shit out. Yeah. Peace out, guys. Love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all later. Yeah. Bye.